His cheeky face and his appley cheeks.
He was short, but intelligent looking.
Probably his hair. It was very long.
He's shorter than me?
He had drain pipe trousers, as opposed to everyone else who had normal, school cut trousers.
He had a beautiful ponytail.
The ponytail.
In his defence, I think I had one maybe a year or so earlier than that. So it wasn't quite as pram-faced though.
He looks as if he could have done with his mother around some of the time. Bit of a scruffy sod, really.
Short.
Lots of puffer jackets, little tiny rucksacks to dance in.
He never takes it off. Even I remember going out onto bars with him, and I've got pictures of him, and he's been there like for a few hours, and he's still got his backpack on in a bar.
The blue tracky top, an ANdAZ one. I think it was an ANdAZ one. It was definitely had the two stripes down the sleeve. I mean, he was wearing Britpop before Liam Gallagher was.
He used to go around with that British Airways bag, very vintage and cool in its day.
The word tweed comes to mind.
The sheer quantity of trainers, I think. He just seems to wear a new pair of trainers every day, and they're always totally immaculately clean.
When him and Nicky first moved in together, they had his and hers towers of trainers, which were a sight to behold. There was something very, very minusculely different about all of them. Only Will and Nicky knew.
Boys go into two camps, the ones that will only wear jeans and the others that will wear three-quarter length sports trousers. And Will is in the latter camp.
I think he puts quite a lot of effort in, but doesn't like people to know that he does.
He's, a metrosexual male, and he's interested in his appearance, I would say.
I would call him actually a very modern man. There's nothing embarrassing about being, aware of your appearance. Metrosexual, no. Homosexual, probably.
He loves cereal, doesn't he?
Around about 95, when he was living in Chiswick, he did sort of, say to me, I'm sick of it, I don't want to live like a student anymore. But at the same time was telling me that he was having cereal for dinner.
He lived on cornflakes. He didn't eat anything else. He lived on cornflakes. I mean, it was for, sort of breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I think advertisers have only just started doing that now, where they're going cornflakes not only for breakfast, but I mean, they should have had Will like years ago, man. He was eating them all the time.
Well, he was really into bean feast when we were students. Loved that shit. Loved it. Now I think he's a bit, he likes all that, posh-looking food on a big plate, but not much of it.
Nicky is quite a foodie, so I would suggest that she's probably made his food taste a bit more sophisticated.
We felt that we'd sort of struck gold when he'd managed to, I think this is when he just started seeing Nicky, she'd obviously managed to get him to eat some salmon, which was a breakthrough.
To go into his house and, it's standing room only because, Darth Vader is still in his box and Chewbacca's all over the place.
The little geeky gadgets that he buys from that shop in Soho.
He's got all of those little ones in packaging on the sort of shelving. Yeah, I'd never really understood it.
I think it's quite sweet. They're collectible, so I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Lots of memorabilia and Japanese type things.
I can definitely still see Will in Tokyo. I think he's the right height for it.
There is something a little bit autistic about somebody that sticks their plastic packs of things that have been in there since 1982 up on the wall.
Look, I've got a Batman Easter egg from 15 years ago. Wow.
He gets very irritated by things like teenagers, the youth of today, playing music on buses, not being respectful enough, that sort of thing.
He gets in these sort of cantankerous rage. It reminds me of my dad.
Mooring up on the Norfolk Broads, the landlord of the pub where we were going to moor up basically kicked us off because we had sailboats, not a motorboat, and it was only for motorboats, which prompted a fierce reaction from Will, from the safety of the boat, obviously, because I was the guy on the dry land dealing with the the publican.
If he gets angry, you can kind of see him like at work, like bubbling up, like, so he'll kind of get redder and redder and redder kind of up here, and then nobody will be saying anything, and then suddenly you'll get a big on the desk.
He just throws his pens down. Oh, fuck this. I've had enough of this. Why isn't anyone else fucking doing any other fucking work, you fuckers?
You know, it's all at the will freak out.
If I stopped doing what I do, everything would finish and the crops would fail.
A roadie.
Drum tech.
I could have seen him as a musician.
Maybe he can invent a new breakfast.
I think he'd love to have worked for Lego.
He'd have written comic novels under a pseudonym.
Party organiser?
I think accountancy might have been up his street, but it'd have been perhaps, you know, one of the first guys in the office not to wear a tie.
I was impressed that he met the Queen.
He's the first person I know that was thrown headfirst through a shop window.
Managing Nicky, that's quite a big achievement.
Persuading Nicky to marry him, I'd say.
His biggest achievement to date would have to be that he's managed to find a woman that he loves and is getting married. And he's actually managed to pop the question, finally.
Oh, I was really relieved.
Finally!
About time.
He obviously hasn't rushed into it, but he's made the right choice.
I thought, well, Nicky's asked you, has he?
My first thought that was he was just trying to upstage me, because I told him that I was going to get married, and he was like, and then he goes and gets married. And probably more spectacular surroundings. I can't see it now, obviously, but it sounds pretty cool.
I think it's very good of Nick to make an honest woman out of Will.
I suppose I was quite surprised, but in a delighted sort of a way.
I thought, what the fuck is he doing?
We all went down to Alton Towers, but he was too small to go on any of the rides. He didn't meet the height restrictions.
This weekend, really, at the stag do on a Friday night, we all sat down to our fish and chips, and we were all there sort of scoffing away, and Will's there sort of typically eating all elegantly, but he's the only one who's actually got his legs crossed under the table. That always worries me about men.
I remember he did actually sort of make a valiant attempt to sort of pull somebody off who was attacking me with an implement.
I remember dancing and just looking at Will and smiling. I remember thinking, it's almost like me and him were a couple almost. It was like some sort of, you know, just like, yeah. And that just sort of summed him up, really.
The best thing about Will is that he is a fantastic friend and great listener, and he is great fun to be with. We have such a laugh together.
Very, very generous, very loyal, brilliant company, and yeah, perfect friend.
He was always very supportive, more supportive than we deserved, absolutely, yeah.
He looks after people really naturally.
He's always concerned for other people. And when I split my girlfriend, he was more devastated than I was.
Nice to hear that you're doing well, and congratulations on your impending wedding. All the best for the future.
Yeah, he's just somebody that everybody would want as his friend, because you see him, it just makes you smile.
He's a very safe person to be around.
I hate to come to like the genuine bit of the interview, having been mean about him, but he's actually brilliant to work with, Will.
Congratulations to both you and Nicky, two of the nicest people that I know.
I have to say, he's a very kind, thoughtful chap. I think those, if I'm serious for a moment, those would be the things.
He's a beautiful man and one of my dearest friends.
It's actually lovely that you two have finally tied the knot, and welcome to the first day of the rest of your lives.